Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Hale. I'm the CEO of GI Jobs. I would like to welcome you to the June 2022 GI Jobs Virtual Career Expo. You have arrived at the keynote conversation, and I am super pumped with our guest today, Lieutenant Commander Jesse Iwuji. Folks, Jesse is the real deal. He is an actively drilling Navy Reservist who played D1 college football at the Naval Academy, went to 4 bowl games. Who does that? Safety for the Naval Academy for the midshipmen. Beat Army like 5 or 6 times in 4 years, probably more. Current NASCAR driver, drives the number 34 car in the Xfinity series. As if that's not enough, he is a NASCAR team co-owner with the one and only Emmitt Smith. Jesse owns 3 other businesses, a trucking company, esports company, and some real estate. And as a result of that, I recently presented the 2022 Vetrepreneur of the Year award to Jesse at the Texas Motor Speedway. Folks, this guy literally does costume changes in telephone booths. I mean that. I'm proud to know this fine American. Jesse, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the intro.
Guys, you know, Superman is human too. So Jesse, if you don't mind, we're going to start off with a little bit of, what do you have in your refrigerator types of questions to bring you down to normal guy status here just for a moment. And you're very humble and you wouldn't think that, but a few icebreakers so that, you know, our audience can get to know you on a more personal level. So
Yeah.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone all day.
iPhone
Android
all day.
never an Android. I don't think I could ever. Nah.
All right. Hey, I hope Apple's listening. Potentially an additional sponsor there, right?
Oh yeah, and then you got to make sure you have AT&T because it's the largest nationwide network with the fewest dropped calls, and also an LTE network you can trust.
This man is on script, ladies and gentlemen. He's got it going on. Well, that was my next question. Verizon or AT&T? You've already said it, so we're good there. Ketchup or hot sauce, Jesse? What are you there?
It depends what I'm eating, but hot sauce for the majority of the time. Really, my favorite ketchup is when it gets turned into cocktail sauce.
All right. Ford or Chevy? We know the answer to this one, but I want to hear you say it.
Chevy all day. I currently have a C6 Z06 Corvette. I have a C7 Z06 Corvette and another C7 Z06 Corvette, and I plan on getting a C8 Z06 Corvette once it finally launches.
Wow. I don't like my odds in my 2012 Mustang Boss taking you on. I think you're gonna dust me. But no, man, that's awesome. Good.
It comes with the territory.
Hey, if you were an actor in a movie, who would play you?
If I was an actor in a movie, or actually, if I was in a movie and someone was going to play me, I would probably think it would be. Who would actually play me? That's kind of tough. The people that would play me that I think would play me are like older than me by like at least like 5-10 years, maybe. Maybe I forget what his name is, but he's the one and Anthony Mackie. Maybe he would play me. I don't know.
Anthony Mackie. All right. Yeah. Good stuff.
Falcon from all the Marvel films.
Outstanding. Love it. All right, last one. Your favorite indulgence. So I've met you. You look like you could still get out there on the football field and play safety, but you got to have an indulgence.
Yeah. No, I definitely try to stay in shape. I work out, run every single day, but I do eat foods that I shouldn't be eating. But probably my favorite indulgence would be any type of gummy candy. Whether it's normal gummy bears from Haribo, or it's gummy worms, or it's sour gummies, or whatever it is, but just gummy candy in general. The new gummy Skittles are amazing. Man, I mean, if it's gummy, it's me.
Jesse, it looks like the good Lord blessed you with some great teeth, but I tell you what, when you start getting dental work, you won't be eating those gummies anymore, man.
I get dental work. I just every once in a while, once a year or so, I go, get my teeth cleaned, all that stuff. Like once every 2 years, maybe.
Good stuff, man. Well, hey, let's get into it here. I've known you for a couple of years now, and we've been tracking you, literally, pun intended, I guess, through your rise, in NASCAR. And I had the really great opportunity to see you in Dallas when you invited me down at your Dallas Motor Speedway the week before Memorial Day at the race. And I tell you, what a great day, what a great venue. I got to meet your parents, your brothers, Justin and Brian, I believe, who both played football as well in college at Texas State. Your manager, Matt Casto, your sponsors, Eddie Perez, and the crew over at Equity Prime Mortgage. What a great group they are. And by the way, for listeners who are looking for some great leadership content, Eddie's got some great stuff he puts out on LinkedIn. So highly recommend that. And of course, meeting Emmitt and his family. And, a lot of our viewers are going to want to know, like, what's that like? The NFL's all-time leading rusher. How did you come about teaming up with him? And, what's it like, literally working with him and having him in your family, so to speak?
Yeah, no, it's been great working with Emmitt, having him come on board to be one of our co-owners for the team. When we look to basically get this team together, we obviously look to get a NASCAR team together that we'd be able to grow as a competitive team on track. Obviously, you got to start somewhere and grow from there. We've had good days, we've had bad days, but also too as well, what we wanted to grow with the team was we wanted to have a team where we owned it. We owned the assets, we owned everything about it, and we were able to utilize these assets to do off-track activities that could help the greater good. So with our team, we have the ability to do things like help out with veteran initiatives, help out with transitioning veterans, folks who have transitioned out of the military. We have actually a couple people on the team who were in the military in their past and have transitioned to the civilian life, and now they're in motorsports. And to be able to give them an opportunity to work not only in just any motorsport, but in NASCAR, the biggest motorsport in this country, it's been absolutely incredible. But not only that, but also being able to use the team to help out with different initiatives, like on the STEM side of things. You got kids out there who are going through our school system, learning about STEM, learning about sciences, math, engineering, you name it. And sometimes in class, it might be a little boring, but when you can tie motorsports, even esports, put it all together and find some type of creative and fun way to bring STEM and that level of education to these kids, it's absolutely incredible. So we're looking to build out programs like that now that we have this team. And also there's kids out there who are fighting life-threatening illnesses. We're in hospitals right now who can't even be like any normal kid because they're fighting whatever they're fighting in that hospital bed. But if we can find out ways where we can utilize our team and our assets to help bring them a better life, that's what we want to do. And once again, we could not do it if we didn't own our own team. And that's why we started a team in NASCAR. So this is our first year. We're not even a year into it. We're 6-7 months into this whole thing. And we're growing, we're learning a lot. We're trying to get our feet under us so that we can not only compete on track, but build out these programs that we're looking to build. And it's been a great journey, but we couldn't do it without our great support that we've had from our great partners like Equity Prime Mortgage, Chevrolet, Coca-Cola, and so on. There's a lot of great folks who have been part of this journey helping out. And we're going to continue to grind and continue to build out what we have.
Yeah, you guys have such a great culture, and I was able to witness it firsthand on that team. I mean, just, top to bottom, left to right, everybody in that organization is singing off the same sheet of music. And people don't understand, like, you've got responsibilities for running the team and leading the team, in addition to driving, in addition to, being an owner. And it was really impressive to watch. And, just hats off to you, man. And all the stuff that you guys do in the community, it's real. I think sometimes people, look at professional athletes and, they think, some of this stuff is kind of, required, it's compulsory, it's mandatory, it's the stuff that the team really insists that they do. For you, it is totally from the heart, and everybody in your team's the same way. I even met the young man who designed the car, where the veteran-owned businesses went on the car, which I understand you made a connection with and gave him an opportunity to work on your team. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's been great being able to give people opportunities to jump into a sport that might have been a goal in their life, making other people's dreams come true. Your dreams will come true as well. And there's a kid, Kevin Campbell, ever since he was actually in middle school, he used to shoot me messages on social media and say, hey, I have a big goal and dream to design race cars for race teams when I get older. And I was like, okay, cool. I'd answer his messages and give him a thumbs up, all that stuff. And then as he got a little bit older, once he got into high school, I think he was like in 9th grade, freshman year, he kept on reaching out to me that year. He's like, hey, I want to design a car for you. Hey, I want to design a car for you. I'm like, okay, like I'll let you do it one day. And then one day he starts designing something, he just sends it to me. I was like, huh, you're actually pretty good. You know how to use, Photoshop and all those different programs, and you look like you actually got some skills. So one day, we were going into our Texas Motor Speedway race in the NASCAR Truck Series. And we had a sponsor for that race, and I was looking to get a design done. And I remember he just kept bothering me. And finally, I was like, you know what? This kid does have some skills. Let me give him a shot. If it looks good, we'll do it. If not, then I'll just find someone else to do it. But let me at least give him a shot. I gave him a shot. And once he came back to me with the design, I was like, wow, that actually looks really, really good. Like, it's on point. It looks good. It's nice and professional. And he came out with a 3D render and everything. I was like, I think we can run with this. So we ended up using it for our graphic scheme for that race, and it was on national TV. We ran. I think we finished 17th that race. Had a pretty good solid run, and we got a lot of TV time and all that stuff. And afterwards, I mean, he was just so elated that his actual design made it onto a real race car, was racing in a real NASCAR race, was racing on national TV, it got a top 20 finish. I mean, he was super elated, and we actually brought him out to the race so we could see it in person. I brought his family out. And then the coolest thing was, after that race, he didn't even know this was happening. On that Monday, we stayed a couple of days later, and we brought that race car to his high school. And we told the principal, hey, we're going to be bringing a race car to the high school. I want every kid in that high school outside waiting when we bring it there. It's going to be a surprise for Kevin. Just have Kevin kind of standing somewhere where he can see it easily. And we just literally drove the race car into the parking lot of the high school where all the kids were standing, and Kevin felt like the coolest kid in his high school that week.
That is awesome.
Pretty incredible experience. It was cool to help him achieve his dreams. And now he's actually pretty much full-time designing for us. Every week, every design you see that goes out there, it's his design.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And so rewarding, right? To be able to change lives like that, change the trajectory, fulfill somebody's dream like that. And you're in a position to be able to do that now. It's just so cool. So, listen, I mentioned earlier at the Texas Motor Speedway, about a month ago, I was able to present to you the 2022 Vetrepreneur of the Year Award. And I want to give a little bit of a background on that, and then I want to let you talk about your businesses. But I think for purposes of our listenership that may not be familiar with that award, I'll use a story to kind of set this up. People come up to me all the time, and I'm sure veterans in the audience will, say the same thing. They're very grateful and appreciative of veterans for their service, but they want to do more, right? How do I do more than just say thank you? How do I do more than just, donating to veteran causes is fantastic, but how do I do more? Like, how do I really get involved? And one of the things I always say to them is to buy veteran. What do I mean by that, right? It's like, eat at a veteran-owned restaurant, right? Hire a veteran-owned plumber or roofer or mechanic to do work on your home or your car. Heck, drink veteran-owned coffee or vodka. There are both of those things available, right? And the truth is, there's like 2.5 million veteran-owned businesses in the U.S., 1 out of every 8. We call them Vetrepreneurs, and we started this award because we wanted to bring recognition to them. And the reason for that is because when you buy veteran, it's a direct infusion of support into the economic engine of that military community, right? Because they're going to hire other veterans. You're a great example that are going to work for their company. They're going to use other veteran-owned businesses in their supply chain. They're going to support, veteran charities and causes. And you're just, it's paying itself forward so many times. Buy American, super popular today. Buy local, super popular today. And, what's more American and what's more local than buying veteran? And so I really feel like that's a great way for people to support this community. And, examples like, you give us, faith and in kind of just show what the veteran-owned business community is all about. So it's really inspiring stuff. Tell us about, obviously we've heard a lot about the NASCAR, driving and ownership. Tell us about your other businesses that you've had, Jesse, and how you got into those.
Yeah. So what really even helped me get into NASCAR was me starting my own businesses. I had a goal, I had a dream to go off and race in NASCAR and work my way up the ranks and eventually race in the NASCAR Cup Series. As many people know, motorsports is expensive. It's not like football or basketball, soccer, or anything like that. In those sports, there's not like a pay to play type. All right, well, I don't know, soccer there might be because you're going up the ranks there. All of a sudden you got to play for these different clubs. It costs a lot of money to travel, all that stuff. But for the most part, like football and stuff like that, it doesn't really cost a lot of money to get into that. You can go buy a football or basketball at the store. You can go to the gym, train. You can go to a field, train, work on your speed drills, footwork drills, throwing a football, catching a football, all that stuff. You can go work on that stuff for relatively cheap. In motorsports, there isn't, motorsports in school. It's not like in seventh grade you can go join the racing team and jump in a race car and start racing and compete against other schools. That would be absolutely incredible, but it's not a thing. So as a kid, if you want to get into racing, your parents typically got to buy you a go-kart or buy you a Legends car or buy you a this or that or whatever it is. And then you got to work your way up the ranks from there. And along the way, somebody has to keep paying for all these different things you're jumping into, all these different cars, these vehicles, all these places you're traveling. If you go buy a go-kart, you're going to need a truck to truck that thing around, or a trailer, or so on. And then, hotel rooms, travel, gas, fuel, all this stuff, tires, it just costs a lot of money. So I didn't get into racing when I was a kid. I didn't start racing anything until I was 26, 27 years old. But for me to do it, I knew that jumping into late model stock cars, which was the first race car I jumped into, it was going to cost me about $5,000 per weekend to race in that. And as a Navy lieutenant at the time, I made, I think, my take home after taxes was probably like six grand or so, for the month. So there's no way in the world I could have spent 5,000 on multiple weekends in that month. So I had to find a way to find that money. Some would say, oh yeah, just go ask a company for sponsorship. Well, when you're new to the game and nobody knows who you are and you don't really have a big name at all at that point, no one's going to sponsor you, right? Nobody sees the marketing value in it. So I had to find the money myself. So I figured out, you know what, if I can't find a company that's going to sponsor me, I'm just going to create my own company and sponsor myself. And that's how I went about it. And that's what got me into the entrepreneurship game. The first business I started was in 2015. It was where I was hosting drag racing events at drag strips. And I would rent out tracks. I would use my knowledge with social media marketing to hype up the event, get a lot of spectators to come out, a lot of drag racers to come out. I'd have 100 to 150 drivers come out and compete. And I would have, up to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, even biggest event I've ever had, 6,000 spectators show up just to watch. And I was selling tickets for every single head that came into that door. And, eventually the ticket sales made a lot more money than what the expenses were to put on the event. And any profit I made from the events, I basically used to get myself into racing. And I pretty much sponsored myself. 90% of the budget needed for me to race in 2016 was through my business in 2016, 17, and so on. Eventually, I started finding more and more sponsorship because my name started growing more. My marketing started growing more. I started branding myself better. I linked up with my agent, Matt Casto, and he helped link me and network me with the right people. And we just continued to grow from there. Eventually, I started finding more sponsorship, which helped the racing side of things. But the entrepreneurial hat that I put on in 2015 to get this thing going, I've kept it since. I still put on these same drag racing events every year, typically 4 or 5 events a year. That also allowed me to open up my eyes to other businesses and other business opportunities. Me and my brother started a trucking company in 2018, and I knew nothing about trucking. My brothers knew nothing about trucking. Nobody in my family has ever driven a semi truck in their life, but there's a lot of resources out there to learn information necessary to start a business. So I literally jumped on YouTube and Google and learned about 90% of what I need to know from that. And the other 10% I learned from just a couple friends connected me to owner operators who own trucks. And I learned a little bit about, their experiences in the industry and pitfalls and things not to fall into and where to go for certain things. But besides that, most of my information I got from YouTube and Google. And it's as simple as typing in how to start a trucking company, or typing in variations of that question, and you'll get variations of that of the answers you need. And then you put that all together, you write down diligent notes, you compile everything you need, and then you start your business. So utilizing the resources we have out there on the internet, you could literally get into so many different things. And then after I started the trucking company, and the trucking company started making money, started investing some of that money into real estate and began buying properties. Currently, right now, we have a single family home that we rent out in Indiana. We have a 5,000 square foot lot in Maryland that we're going to build on. We're building 2 homes in Houston, Texas on a lot that we have out there. We recently purchased a 1 acre lot in Oregon where we're going to build an RV storage lot, and that's currently in construction right now. And we're also invested in on a syndication deal in Iowa on 106 units out there. And we're looking to actually jump into another deal out there as well. That's 130 as well. So all these different things were just stuff that I, once again, use the internet. I use YouTube, I use podcasts, I use Google to learn a lot about the real estate game, about how to invest, what are all the opportunities, what are all the tools that I can put on my belt, and then be able to utilize these different strategies to make real estate work no matter what the market is, whether it's a bad market or a good market. There's ways to succeed and there's ways to make money. So I've learned a lot through internet, people, networking, and just constantly just looking for opportunities. When you keep your eyes open to opportunities, when you keep your mind open to opportunities, you'll find them, you'll attract them into your life. And that's what I've been able to do with all that. And then recently in the last 2 years, started an esports company with one of my partners, Matt Casto, and Sean Yoder, and also Tim. And we put together this esports company to host sim racing events. And these sim racing events are opportunities for people at home to compete in racing events online and win cash prizes. They're not winning just $100 or $200. They're winning $4,000, $1,000, $500, whatever it is. They're winning a pretty decent amount of money just to compete in a sim racing event at home. So all these different things are just streams of, just different business streams that we've been able to build, and we're going to grow them out. I look forward to jumping into more as the future goes on. There's a lot of opportunity in the energy sector as well, and I'm looking into there.
Well, listen, hey, good to be back. I was out at, we had this massive storm hit our offices here in Pittsburgh, and everything went out, and including the server and my hotspot on my phone and everything. So I'm dialed in here, and thanks to Jesse, we are back up and running. He sent me the number, so we're good to go. So Jesse, just a couple more questions, and we'll move on. So, so many areas and so many times, during, all the innovation and ingenuity that was required for you to get into racing, right? You started a business literally so that you could race cars and get into being a professional driver. And, obviously there had to have been times when you sort of doubted yourself, right? Where do you find the strength to kind of keep going?
Yeah, there's a lot of times where you will doubt yourself, whether it's in racing or business life or really anything, when you're going after a big goal, going after a big dream that's a lot higher than where you are right now. And that doubt comes because of the voices in your head, the negativity around you, what society says you should be or what you can do or all that stuff, even family, friends. Some people will try to limit you because maybe they want to keep you safe, secure, all that stuff. But when you have a higher calling, you have to go after it. Don't limit yourself. And during those times of doubt, when all these voices and all this energy is coming after you to try to bring you down, you have to remember that only you were given the vision. God only put the vision in your mind of who you're supposed to become, what you're supposed to accomplish, what you're supposed to do. And you saw it. That's why you went after it. So you have to understand that other people weren't given your same vision. God doesn't just go into everybody's head and put the vision that he gave you into their head so that they can know, hey, this is what this person's meant to be. No, he puts the vision for them in their head, the vision for you in your head, and he wants you to go after it and go after it with as much energy, passion, and effort as possible, while having faith that he will make it come true in the end, as long as you continue to push. And that's what he wants. He says, don't worry about everybody else. Like, I gave them a mission, you got your mission, stay in line and go after it. If you start listening to other people who can't see it, who maybe quit on their vision, and since they quit on their vision, they think that everyone else in the world should be limited in their greatness because they couldn't make it to theirs. Well, don't listen to them. Like, it's, you were given the vision, you have to go after it. So that's where I draw my strength from right there, is just understanding that concept right there.
Yeah, well said. And, people think, they look at successful people and they don't understand the level of grit and work and just so, the time, right, that went into it. You mentioned, you're 34, I think, right? And you mentioned that you started doing this when you were 26, 27. So you're 7 years in as an adult the whole time. And, you still have not achieved all of the things that you want to accomplish in racing. And people don't, I think, don't really understand it. They think the success comes quick and fast, and they've always been that way. But man, just lots of days over those 7 years where you're doing stuff that there's no limelight, man, right? It's just like you're getting after it, and you're digging deep, and you're doing the practice and the hard work that's required to just get the opportunity, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, nothing really happens overnight. It's typically 10 years of grind and work, and then overnight, then you're finally start having the success, right? It's not just you didn't do anything and then it just happens, right? There is no such thing as overnight success. Nothing just happens because of that. There is a grind and learning process and mistakes and things you had to go through prior to that. Even Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, him getting that going. A lot of people think, oh, it's just an overnight success. He started it and everything just worked. Well, what about all the time and energy and educating himself on coding and learning how to bring people together on online networks? All that, just he didn't just learn that in one day and then all of a sudden start Facebook. He spent years and years from really middle school, high school, learning how to do all that stuff, making mistakes, making good things happen, making bad things happen, all that stuff for quite a few years before he even got to the level of Facebook. So it takes time, and there's nothing that just happens overnight. There is a grind. Typically people don't get to see that grind, so they automatically think things just happen, and they think that just because it just didn't happen for them, all of a sudden it's not meant to be. That's just not the case. Everyone's process to getting to wherever their goal is going to be different. Some people's process might take 1 or 2 years. Some people's process might take about 10 to 15 years. Some people's process is 5. It just depends. But whatever yours is, it's all according to your mission and the amount of effort and grind and faith that you're putting into it. Yours might be a little bit more speedy than some other people, but hey, that's okay. That's your mission. You were meant to be here. Somebody else might be meant to be here, and that mountain's a little bit harder to climb. So, just understand where your lane is, and you go after it, and do not worry about anybody else's lane.
Yeah, no, good stuff, Jesse. We've talked a lot about veteran-owned businesses today, and one of the things that veterans oftentimes come up to me and they say, listen, I've been working for somebody else for a long time, the Navy usually, right, or the military, and maybe they did 10 years or 20 years or even longer, right? And they're like, but now I'd like to get out and kind of do my own thing, right? Be my independent, an independent business owner. I'd love to do that, right? And especially even some of the retirees, right? They've got some, they're a little bit older. They've saved money. They've, had the financial discipline to save a nest egg and build some equity, and they've got, the financial means to do it. But they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't have any business experience. I don't have, I don't have a mother or a father who was in a particular business that taught me the trade, so to speak. Nor do I, I'm not Zuckerberg, right? I don't have a killer idea. I'm not Elon Musk. I don't know how to, I don't have this great idea to invent something. And, they're like, but how do I get into business? And, the easy answer there is franchising. It's like somebody else comes up with the idea, the business plan, proves out how to do the operations, and you're given that recipe and you bake the cake. And it's just getting after it, right? And following that plan that has already led to success for so many others when they created that franchise concept. So any thoughts, I know you don't own a franchise, but any thoughts that you have on that being a pathway for veterans to get into owning, their own business?
Yeah, getting into the franchise world definitely is a route for veterans to jump into. People who are looking to get their own business going, have their own thing, be their own boss, own their own business, but they don't also have to be the creative one who has to come up with this new creative idea or some different way of doing whatever. There's a framework. There's something that's already built that it's tested, it's tried, it's proven, and all they have to do is just implement it. They're going to have their own employees, but they just follow this particular recipe and they bake the cake. And as long as they follow the recipe and they put good people in place that continue to follow that recipe, the business will run well and they'll make money. And they don't have to worry about somebody setting their own hours or, somebody, telling them to do this and telling them to do that. I mean, yes, you do have to follow a certain guideline so that the franchise, works the way it's supposed to work. But at the end of the day, you get to call your own shots and you get to be your own boss. And I think that's what people want to do. And eventually the money you make from that, you could use it to invest into something else where you're even in more control of what's going on. And maybe you don't have any royalty fees you got to pay or anything like that. So jumping into the franchise world, I think is definitely a great opportunity for vets who want to jump in. And, some people think, okay, jumping into a franchise world, that means there's only a few of them out there like McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or whatever. McDonald's, I need like $1 million or something crazy like that to get it going. Well, that's McDonald's. You don't have to jump into that one. There are plenty of franchise opportunities out there. And there's veteran-owned businesses that have franchise opportunities as well. So you can jump into that line, and I'm sure they'll give you some great treatment as well because you're a vet. So jumping into the franchise model, I think is definitely a great route for folks who want to get into business and maybe just don't know where to go or what to do and maybe need some help. But franchises typically do a pretty good job of educating their new franchise owners on how to run a business, how to operate it, how to keep track of your expenses and revenue and this and that, all these different things. But also too, when you're on your own boss, you have to understand business yourself as well. You have to understand what makes a business, what keeps a business running. It's very similar to the military. It's people. It's putting together a good group of people who are in line and want to support the mission. And once you get those people to want to really truly support the mission, they do it on a daily basis, your business will run well. If you don't have good people working for you, then everything falls apart, because then you don't have anyone doing all the jobs, and you as the owner can't do all the jobs. You can try to do a lot of them, but you can't do them all. So putting together good people around you, good people in the business to work, formulating that good team, that good division, that good squadron, that good battalion, whatever it is, that's what you got to do. And it's very similar to being in the military.
Yeah, no, really good advice. Leadership, right? It really all comes down to leadership once you've got that business operations and that formula set up. I'm glad you mentioned too, Jesse, the investment, because you're absolutely right. People think of it as, real estate and build out and restaurants. And it's, there's so much more than that. In fact, we've got this virtual franchise conference that we're putting on June 30th. And we've got, I think, about a dozen franchisors that will be there to talk with veterans one-to-one. And there are one or two that for as little as like $20,000, you can get into a franchise. And, that's like a credit card limit. So, it's just, there's some real opportunities there, and you don't have to be, a millionaire to start these things. But good. Hey, we're going to be wrapping up here soon. I have to tell you though, right, the Navy has been in the spotlight here thanks to Tom Cruise and company. Have you seen Top Gun yet?
I've seen the new Top Gun Maverick movie. It is really good. I liked it a lot. Tom Cruise always does a great job in any movie he's in, and just all the action sequences, all the the jets, the F-18s, and all those scenes, and them doing a really, really good job of making sure that they use as little CG as possible, but as many real life action, like they were actually filming real jets flying, real jets going against each other, real jets flying super low to the ground, all this stuff, and even people's expressions on their face as pilots, the actors, they were truly experiencing those G-forces, and it was really cool to see that they did a really great job on actually utilizing real effects instead of like virtual or VFX.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's a lot of ways they could have screwed that up, right? Because Top Gun, the original, was so successful. But man, I got to agree with you. And it's just, the reviews have been great. I saw it and just super motivating. So yeah, great Navy recruiting movie for sure. But no, listen, it's been super fun, Jesse. It's time for us to kind of wrap up here. You have been so gracious with your time, and I can't thank you enough. Any last minute words of wisdom you'd like to give to our attendees today here at the Virtual Career Expo?
Yeah, for anybody listening, I'm sure that if you are listening to this, if you are attending this, you probably are a dreamer. You probably are a go-getter. You probably have a big goal. You have a big something out there that you're going after that most would say is impossible. I just want to tell you that whatever it is, you can achieve it. Just have the clear vision in your mind of what you want to achieve, fully and insanely and obsessively believe in it, put action towards it every single day. And when it gets dark, when the going gets tough, because it will, and it's okay that it happens. It's okay that you're going to have hard days. It's okay that you're going to have hard weeks and months and years. When that happens, just remember, even at the darkest point of the night, the sun will still rise. So no matter how dark it gets, the very next day, you're going to have another day. Keep on pushing. Do not ever quit, and have faith through that entire time that everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen. And as long as you do all that right there, in the very end, you will achieve whatever you want to achieve. If you fall in any of those points or don't believe, you don't put action, you don't have the vision, you don't have faith, whatever it is, you'll never achieve it. So don't think that something didn't happen because it just wasn't meant to be. It didn't happen because you didn't have the vision, you didn't obsessively and insanely believe in it, you didn't put action towards it, you didn't have faith during the dark days, and you quit. That's if all that's what happens to make sure that you don't achieve your dreams. So if you want to achieve your dreams, just go after it like that and never let any other people's opinion of you become your reality. Just remember all that stuff, and I promise you can achieve anything you want to in life.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, from the one and only Mr. Jesse Iwuji, Lieutenant Commander Jesse Iwuji, and the 2022 Vetrepreneur of the Year. Congratulations again on that, Jesse. Congratulations on all your achievements on the track and off. You're an inspiration for all of us, and can't thank you enough for spending some time here with us today. To those who are attending our virtual career expo, time to get out there, talk to the companies who are here to hire you. Everybody have a fantastic day. Thanks for coming.